so much sacrifice, making deep reflections and exposing himself to the judgment of the people of Venezuela of that time. And Bolivar used to say, he ended with something that closed forever the idea that has become infinite. It's the constant, it's the constant to obtain victory. That's how Liberto Simon Bolivar concluded with those reflections that I always welcome our brothers in arms to read and reflect and debate on them, to put them in context, and also to apply them in parallel to the situation that today we are experiencing in Venezuela. So dear brothers, we have gathered here today, Venezuelan people, to report on the latest actions of the Bolivarian forces on the territory. You know, our commander-in-chief denounced explicitly, with details, the U.S. deployment in the Caribbean Sea, the whole deployment, aiming at Venezuela, of U.S. destroyers, the use of drones, the use of helicopters that have taken off from the decks of those warships. We have been observing all of that from here, from Venezuela. We are observing because we are a people that is vigilant, that is on alert. The people is not scared, it's not afraid, but is in constant alert, vigilant of all situations that can attempt against our security and against our sovereignty. That's the facts. These are the facts that come from years back. I was listening to our Supreme Commander Hugo Chavez in a video speaking on the same subject, and this has been a few years back now. Our Commander Chavez was already announcing back then that they were already trying to describe us as a drug state, and Commander Chavez replied that we are but a victim of drug trafficking from the production that is made in Colombia for the drug cartels in Colombia. We are victims of the armed groups that came to be amid the struggles for social justice on the other side in Colombia. Victims. We are not the epicenter. But it would seem that the communication media, the imperial communication media, the spokesperson of the far right, they tried to paint Venezuela as if it was the problem. They tried to paint Venezuela as if the issue of the armed groups created in Colombia is a problem from Venezuela, that we give them shelter in Venezuela, that we supposedly protect them here in Venezuela. They have always put in blames irresponsibly on other states, in this case in Venezuela, a neighbor of Colombia. The same happens with drug trafficking. We do not produce drug. We are tired of saying all this day. It's getting tiresome to repeat so many times the same thing. We are not producers, we are not consumers. Our consumption in Venezuela is very little compared to the consumption of European countries in the United States. And we know that in Venezuela, coca leaves are not sown. We were saying yesterday that we had an ongoing operation, Operation Sierra, to determine the non-existence of crops on the border area. And if there were, we will act accordingly very quickly. That's why the UN reports themselves that we are a region, a country free of illegal crops. So also the issue of drug trafficking, they want to put it in Venezuela as an absurd narrative. We were recently listening authorities, so that we don't have to mention the names, from the United States, of the US government, that they did not care about what the UN had to say, that they did not care at all for international law. So where are we? In what world are we living? The world must be remade. We must bring it to balance and promote and strengthen the United Nations. The government and President Xi Jinping recently in the Shanghai Cooperation Forum, he said it, a new governance, but not a governance for takeover of the resources of other countries. No, it's not a governance to colonize other countries. It's not a governance. It's not an imperial governance. It's a governance for peace, for balance, as Simón Bolívar would say, in world balance, of a deep respect for international law, deep respect for the sovereignty of the people, to the self-determination of the peoples. So to these gentlemen of the US government, they don't care at all what the UN has to say. For them, the UN does not exist. And they want to do whatever they want in the world. In their desperation, in their desperate race to survive and to be able to give power to the unipolar hegemonic world that they want to impose on the world. So of that we can talk a lot. Dear brothers and colleagues of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces, you must remember that doctrine of national security in the United States that saw us as a police, that they pretended that the armed forces of what they called the backyard would be for the control of the internal order and to fight drug trafficking, and of course to contain the influence of the Soviet Union in this hemisphere. So they have always seen this, they have always had this idea. Contention of communism in Latin America, respect for human rights, drug trafficking. Those are the plots, their pseudo-democracy completely degraded the liberal democracy. That's their patterns and the excuses and the plots and the subterfuges they make. So the concept of national security and with the School for the Americas in Panama, that was supposedly for cooperation in theory, for the cooperation in the hemisphere, it ended up being a school to teach how to annihilate, torture all those that did not align with the interests of the United States. And that's where those famous plans came, the Condor Plan in South America, to pursue and assassinate political leaders of the left, progressive political leaders, Operation Charlie here in Central America, and the armed forces that they began to be alienated with the schools of the Americas to teach them in counterinsurgency. This means that their goal was to see their own people as an inner enemy. The techniques of counterinsurgents. And that, of course, That's what the United States wanted, to align and turn their backyard and armed forces in an instrument for their interest. And the Caribbean Sea, of course, a sea whose islands that are in the Caribbean Sea are but an appendix. That's how it was referred to. They're an appendix to the United States. In the 90s, they wanted to do here under the administration of Bill Clinton and the government of Rafael Caldera, may he rest in peace. They pretended to create an alliance so that airplanes and naval ships could go over our territorial sea and airspace with the excuse of combating drug trafficking. Can you imagine that? They almost succeeded. And it did not succeed because in 1998, that leader came to be our leader, the eternal leader, Commander Hugo Chavez, with his ideology and clear vision of building a true revolution, a true geopolitical rebellion to prevent hegemonism from the United States. That fact that airplanes from the United States come and sail on a territorial sea and airplanes to fly over airspace, we must say that the armed forces resisted at that moment. We must responsibly say this, that the armed forces resisted these plans, but it did not succeed in the end, thanks that Commander Chavez got into power with his political revolutionary project to defend at all costs our sovereignty, our independence and territorial integrity. So well, we wanted to go over different parts of the national territory. I want to interact with Major Jose Gregorio Martinez, commander of the Strategic Region Integral Defense Los Andes. He's accompanied by the commander of the command of the area of the National Guard, Táchira. So let's listen all that has been done to fulfill all the tasks that we have to protect our economy, the attacks against drug criminal groups, whatever their names may be, and of course all the important tasks in the struggle that we have against drug trafficking. Let's first listen to Major General Martinez Campos to see what he has for the Venezuelan people. Chavez lives, my General-in-Chief. From the strategic region of Los Andes, we find ourselves in the point of attention for citizens in perfect civic military police fusion. I am accompanied by Division General Michel Valladares, the commander of the Táchira area, Division General Commander of the National Guard in Táchira, and Mayor Commissioner and Commander in the region of Los Angeles. We're going to provide a report, my General-in-Chief, in this moment of all the results of the operations that we have carried out here in Táchira in regards to the issue of seizure of drugs, Operation Iron Fist. And for that, I'm going to give the word to the Division General, Miguel. Chavez lives, my commander. The Bolivarian National Armed Forces, in perfect popular military civic fusion, deployed in the binational area of peace. Number one, all across the borderline, in the most active border in South America that communicates the peoples of Venezuela and Colombia, in all 29 municipalities and the over 11,000 square kilometers that comprises the Táchira state, in the 4 binational bridges where we are deployed with 8 tactical units, 34 posts for attention to the citizenship and to guarantee peace of citizens and to avoid the passing of illegal drugs, 8 border posts, all to safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity, through which we have obtained the following results regarding the fight against drug trafficking and the fight against smuggling, marked in the operations of Iron Fist, highlighted in the last weeks. We increased these seizures to reach a total until today, September 8th, the following: a ton or 1.7 tons of different drugs, over 900 kilograms of cocaine, over 700 kilograms of marijuana, 39 kilograms of other kinds of drugs. This became the biggest seizure of synthetic drugs, and also the seizure of many precursor substances, all thanks to the commitment of our troops to avoid at all costs that our country be used as a space for drug trafficking. 984 citizens have been detained, over 90 vehicles have been seized for the public ministry, and while neutralizing several modus operandi of hiding the merchandise in different places. Drugs that were going to be destined to the interior of the country. We highlight in 118 processes, and in the framework of Operation Iron Fist, we have obtained important results. 980 tons of merchandise has been retained in smuggling actions and over 400 operations. Hundreds of different fuels have been seized and also different materials as cement, copper, and aluminum. Different security operations, over 50 mercenaries have been detained and several criminal groups have been dismantled. Over 190 firearms have been seized and destroyed. Also, thousands of different caliber ammunition have been seized. 14 drones have been seized, as well as 3 optical sites. Over 46,000 US dollars have been seized. Over 300,000 were fake dollars have been seized. And all these operations have taken place in the framework of respect for the human rights and in the mandate to protect the Venezuelan people and the constitution of the country. My commander, I want to highlight that our Táchira state borders with the northern department of Santander, one of the most violent in the neighboring country, while our state, thanks to the policy of security promoted by the national government, regional governments, in perfect military civic popular fusion, we can say today that Táchira is one of the safest states in Venezuela. Commander, our land, we take care of it, we preserve it. Venezuelans united for peace, prosperity, and sovereignty, because to doubt would be to betray our homeland. In Venezuela, we don't sow, we do not produce, and we do not consume any kind of illicit drugs. No empire can come here to touch our sacred soil. We continue the the legacy of our Supreme Commander Hugo Rafael Chavez Fria under the wise leadership of our Commander-in-Chief Nicolás Maduro Moros and the guidelines of my General-in-Chief Vladimir Padrino López. We continue to build the sovereign homeland, honoring the legacy of our liberators. From this land of Táchira, we say to Venezuela and the world that the homeland will not be lost in our hands. Chávez lives and the homeland continues. Well, thank you very much. A very important report that you presented to the Venezuelan people, because interior order is something that we must pay attention to. Remember, the war comes in peril. The military threat, unprecedented military threat, that is right now deployed in the Caribbean Sea, aiming at Venezuela, and in parallel, all these actions that imperialism is doing to try to destabilize from within the institutions, to trigger division within the Bolivarian National Forces, and to trigger also traitors to come out. We must also consolidate the stability of the country. Hundreds of fronts at the same time. So I'm going to go to the map right now so that you have an idea that the creation of the attention points for citizens that are in place by the Bolivarian National Guard all across the territory, all they do a very important work in this sense of maintaining order. I'm going to go to the map very quickly. If you see here on this map, and this point, if you are able to see it from the camera, all these dots are posts of integral attention. Why integral? Because they are specialized to take care of any kind of situation. Smuggling drugs, to detect any suspect on the national territory, to detect the transportation of explosives in the national territory. These are points of attention for citizens to attend to them. But if there is a situation that has to be taken care of from prosecution point of view, well, the Bolivarian National Guard is present, which is also a branch of our Bolivarian National Armed Forces that supports the military actions according to the Constitution, but is also in charge of preserving public order. To my right is the commander of the Bolivarian National Guard, Helios Estrada Paredes, who can give us more details of what I have already said on the action of these 415 points of attention to citizens and what are they doing right now. General-in-Chief, very good mornings. In relations in the framework of the Operation Bolivarian Shield, the Bolivarian National Guard is currently deployed across the national territory. In this case, fulfilling the constitutional mandate established in our Constitution, which is to safeguard the public order. So we are working in 415 points of attention to the citizens distributed across the nation. We have obtained very important results because it contributes to the tranquility and peace of Venezuelans, and we have done a face-to-face struggle against all those people that want to enter our territory to bring merchandises, weapons, also paramilitaries and foreigners, and mercenaries that we have detected and we have detained in those points, and we're gonna allow ourselves to provide these results at the national level. Everything that has to do with the strategic material that has been seized, we were able to seized over 13,000 tons of scrap metals, copper, iron, and aluminum, 200 over 200,000 liters of fuel within the Operation Iron Fist. We have smuggling of food and medicine. In terms of food, we have seized 250 tons of food and medicines in different types of medicine, 215,000 medicines. Also, regarding drug trafficking, not only in the struggle on the fields, in the logistic centers that we are carrying out, we have seized in these different points of attention to citizens 14 tons of drugs of different ways. Also precursors as well, 14 tons of precursor that works for the processing of cocaine. In terms of citizen security and peace quadrant mission, we were able to seize 14 kilograms of explosive, 895 firearms, over 20,000 ammunitions, and 43 grenades, hand grenades, that can be used to carry out terrorist actions. Also protecting the environment, something very important for the National Guard. We were able to seize 240 cubic meters of wood and 1,080 protected species. We have captured over 200 people that had an arrest warrant, and also hundreds of vehicles as well. Right now, we are currently deploying all these different attention points for the citizens to continue fulfilling our mission, which is to protect our people. Thank you very much. We really explained the task of the Bolivarian National Guard, which is an admirable work. Its professionalism, its way of carrying out its actions, and its way of respecting citizens. No rights are being violated against the people. Only facing crime against mercenaries and delinquents, and against all terrorists that want to disturb the peace of Venezuela. I have here in my hands, Commander-in-Chief has been showing the manuals, the doctrines of the strategic command of operation that we have been perfecting over time. If there is something that has to be dynamic, it's especially the doctrine of our Bolivarian National Armed Forces, because situations change quickly, especially in the current times with technology that marks the pace, accelerates the processes, and accelerates change. I have here in my hand the manual of the fundamentals of public order of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces. And this is something that all the armed forces must fulfill, but also very importantly to our Bolivarian National Guard. Everything is here. No one is improvising anything. All that our Commander-in-Chief has announced, from the calling to the enlistment to all this that we are doing right now, where we have gone from operation in times of peace to high operation actions in these moments and this juncture, everything has a guideline, a doctrine. So we are not improvising. We are doing a serious work to prepare the country. More threats, more preparation. More threats, more preparation. So thanks to the Bolivarian National Guard, thank you very much to the General Mayor and Commander of the Strategic Zone of Los Andes for that report. And well, let's go then to a second report, second briefing from the territory, this time from the wonderful deployment that we have carried out under the order of our Commander-in-Chief in the binational area of peace in the state of Zulia. We have there Division General Gabriel Enrique, commander of the operation areas of integral defense, Zulia, in Achique de Perijá. So he's ready to give us as well a report so that the people of Venezuela knows what's being done in the framework of that great operation. It's a great deployment. I explained this yesterday. Our commander-in-chief ordered to reinforce the north in La Guajira, and that deployment of reinforcement began yesterday at 6 p.m. local time. So let's listen to Division General so that he can explain the people what we have right now of that great deployment in the western border with Colombia, and to know all the actions that the armed forces are carrying out in the territory in that region. Chavez Leaves, my General-in-Chief. Good morning. This day, September 8th, we find ourselves in the municipality of Achique, Perijá, continuing with the actions of drug against the. We continue with the anti-drug trafficking actions established in the strategic operation Bolivarian Chill and Relámpago and Iron Fist, with the active participation of our quick response units and all the means and forces available to reinforce our strategic positions in perfect military civic police fusion. We report on the results of the last 7 days, in which during labors of patrols, reconnaissance, we were able to reach important results to guarantee peace and security of the people of the region of Zulia. Regarding the struggle against drug trafficking through the deployment of a quick response unit, we succeeded to find different materials of criminal interest hidden underground that belong to the structured groups of criminal groups. After carrying out drill operations with specialized machinery, we were able to seize 3 speedboats designed for the transportation of illegal substances, 15 engines, high-power engines, 20 plastic storage containers, 4 firearms, 9mm, over 1,000 rounds of different calibers, 16 magazines, 7 assault rifles. Also in the struggle against drug trafficking, through the different points of attention to citizens deployed along the territory of state of Zulia, we were able to seize 8,029 grams of cocaine, 1,200 grams of marijuana. A citizen has been detained who was going in a public transport vehicle from the Colombian Republic, and once an interview was carried out and an X-ray was made, we were able to witness strange bodies within her body, and we carried out the lawful medical procedures to remove the package of drugs. Also, in the execution of the Iron Fist plan and the control of strategic material, we were able to seize 3,050 cigarette packs, 1,300 ibuprofen blisters, 300 blisters of clozapam, 4 vehicles, 8 trucks, 2 bikes. In Venezuela, we don't sell, we don't distribute, we don't process illicit substances. Venezuela is respected. Chavez lives. The homeland continues. Loyal always, traitors never. We shall win. Oh, thank you very much, Division General Javier Magallanes. This operation has to be very efficient, very effective, because we've always had there attempts of sowing the coca leaf in la Sierra de Perijás, places that we are now doing reconnaissance to see if there are any. As I was saying at the beginning, this is a yearly operation, 2 times a year, to determine if there are crops of coca or marijuana. Although marijuana is very difficult to grow there, but the coca leaf in Perijá. Right now we're carrying out an operation with the Anti-Drug Command of the Bolivarian National Guard, the Strategic Command, always there in all that front. They have tried the Tancol groups, the terrorist drug trafficking armed groups of Colombia are crossing the borderline without the consent of the Bolivarian Venezuelan government, without our permission. Our Commander Chavez, who was always very clear on this, our Commander-in-Chief Nicolás Maduro has been very clear on this, and the Bolivarian National Armed Forces constitutionally fulfilling the constitutional mandate cannot allow any group in Venezuelan territory, whatever its name may be, not a single armed group. That would be a violation to our sovereignty. Do they cross? Yes, they do, because it's a very difficult border, but we are waiting for them here, and then we expel them and neutralize them. So it's a daily, constant effort. It's another of the actions, another of the narratives that they try to create against Venezuela, that we are protectors of the armed groups in Colombia, that we provide them with asylum. Here in Venezuela, what has done is a great effort to achieve peace in Colombia. From the direct action of Commander Hugo Chavez, years ago. And also the action of our Commander-in-Chief, not only when he was a foreign minister, but also now as President of the Republic, a constant effort to contribute to peace with Colombia, because peace for Colombia is peace for Venezuela and for the whole region. So it's an operation that needs a lot of effort, a lot of dedication to truly reach the objective. What's the objective? The objective is to have a healthy border, a safe border without drug trafficking, without mafias, with armed groups, for development, for peace of the border people, and to do there together with Colombia, taking the word and thinking of Bolivar, of the Union of Nations of the Great Colombia, a great development plan that benefits both countries. So it's not any operation what we're doing. We are very aware of this. It's a great operation with a lot of seriousness, a lot of logistical efforts, with a rest to fulfill with the purposes that with the objective that we have. Well, we also want to listen. We are going to the region of Guayana Esequiba. Major General Wilfreda Machado, commander of that strategic area, Guayana. Let's listen what is being done over there. Chavez lives, my General-in-Chief. I find myself in the following coordinates.
26.31 segundos norte, 67 grados, 35 minutos, 36.48 segundos oeste. En la región estratégica
In the Strategic Integral Defense Region number 6, Guayana, Bolivar State, Municipality of Caroní, in the framework of Operation Bolivarian Shield, we are carrying out patrol operations and land reconnaissance, air reconnaissance, and sea reconnaissance with the deployment of several quick reaction units for a total of over 1,000 soldiers exercising national sovereignty in this important region. We're going to present to you right now the victories obtained in the operation activities during the last 7 days. In the framework of Iron Fist operation, the fight against smuggling, personnel of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces in the task of prosecuting and certify the legality in the moving, export and import and trade of any product in the national territory in the state of Guayana Esequiba,
7 grados, 19 minutos, 27.93 segundos norte, 61 grados, 31 minutos, 22.01 segundos oeste, se efectuó la retención de 100 cajas contentivas.
We seize 100 boxes of 4 units each of different food products for a total of 1,400 kilograms and 250 sacks of rice for 7,000 kilograms of rice. In total, over 8,900 kilograms of merchandise has been seized. Both products came from Brazil, which were being transported without any kind of documentation, legal documentation. My General-in-Chief, in what has to do with the order of Operation Roraima, in the frontal struggle against armed criminal groups, criminal gangs, and armed groups that create violence, that carry out illegal mining, destroying our environment and the future life of all species, we carried out with the destruction of an encampment near Guri,
63 grados, 01 minuto, 40 segundos oeste del sector Grillero.
In Grillero sector, Municipality Angostura, in the Bolivar state. We detained 6 citizens in that place, 5 Venezuelan and 1 citizen of Brazilian nationality, to whom the following elements were seized: a fire gun, 9 millimeters, 100 rounds, 2 radios, 3 bike bombs, 2 electric hammers, 2 water turbine, 500 meters, 3 solar panels, over 1,000 liters of fuel, and 4 motorbikes. Likewise, in different labors of river patrolling in the Medellín sector,
62 grados, 43 minutos, 50.5 segundos oeste, municipio Caroní del estado
Municipality of Caroní of the Bolivar state. We located and destroyed equipment and material that were buried, used for the illegal mining activity, or 4,000 liters of fuel, a 6-cylinder engine, 3 air compressors, and 2,000 meters high pressure. National territory can never be bequeathed, rented, nor neither temporarily or partially to foreign entities. The Venezuelan national territory is an area of peace It is a right and duty of each generation to protect and maintain the environment in benefit of itself and the future world. The national park and natural monuments and other important ecological areas will be protected, preserved as a vital patrimony of the nation. Venezuela is not a threat. Venezuela is hope. Chavez lives. The homeland continues. Loyal always, traitors never. The sun of Venezuela rises on the Essequibo. We shall win. Thank you very much, Division General, to all its team. We know of the great territorial extension that territory has, the great need of equipment and efforts that is necessary to control, to have stability in that region. But I know that with your will and professionalism, your always will to triumph is always what comes ahead, and therefore you are doing all that you have been doing, not only protecting the environment. The Bolivarian National Armed Forces helps a lot, not only in the issue with the illegal mining. The Bolivarian National Armed Forces also helps to protect the water sources, the national parks, the forest reserves, the water reserves, all those tasks in coordination with the Environment Ministry. We do it to protect the environment. It's not only to fight against illegal mining, but also protect all these reserves, forests, water, so that our country has and we can also build following the threat of climate change. And we take that very seriously, the threat of climate change. We make a great effort to contribute to preserve our Amazonas region. So thank you very much to all his teams. Congratulations. And now we would like to listen finally in this group of reports, Division General Leonel Sojorrada. He is the commander of the Operation Integral Defense Amazonas, who is leading all the Operation Neblina fog in the Amazonas state. Something that is almost impenetrable due to its characteristics, and we have reached by river to some places very tucked away, and we've had results because mafias do not have patience. They have no care for geographic spaces. One cannot even imagine the drug trafficking mafias and terrorist armed groups, from Colombia go through the places where you least imagine. So we want to listen to the report of Sojorrada, so that he explains Venezuela from that faraway place in the south of Venezuela, everything that is being done. Chavez leaves. Good morning, my General-in-Chief. From the Integral Defense Operations Zone, we continue to deploy across the territory with 6 quick reaction units comprised by men and women committed in the defense of the homeland and in perfect popular civic military fusion, using all land, air, and sea means, exercising sovereignty in this Amazon region, always fulfilling the Constitution and laws of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela in the struggle and elimination of tangle groups that aim to carry out drug trafficking activities and illegal mining. We are going to present to you the report of the different victories in the operations in the last 8 years in the framework of the Bolivarian Shield Neblina 25. So we carried out the destruction of 3 logistical encampment tanko located in the following coordinates.
67 grados, 17 minutos, 17 segundos oeste, logrando la incautación de uniformes.
We succeeded in seizing uniforms and equipment used by these terrorist groups, over 100 rounds of different calibers, 20 magazines of assault rifles of different models, 450 liters of jet fuel, 3 vehicles, security cameras and satellite equipment, and different communication equipment.
53 minutos 55 segundos norte, 67 grados, 19 minutos 34
In the second, we located 14 structures of logistics, 3,000 liters of fuel, 800 kilograms of logistics stuff, 5,200 different medicines. Likewise, we seized 2 assault rifles with their respective magazine and ammunition. The third encampment was located in the following coordinates.
67 grados, 16 minutos 33 segundos oeste, con la destrucción
With the destruction of 15 structures, 3,200 liters of gasoline, 1,800 liters diesel fuel, and different communication equipment and satellite communication equipment. We achieved the location and destruction of a clandestine airstrip used for drug trafficking activity located in the following coordinates.
67 grados, 16 minutos 33 segundos oeste. En la misma se ubicó y destruyó una aeronave de ala fija.
We also found a fixed-wing airplane that was destroyed as well. 2,000 liters diesel fuel, 1,000 liters of gasoline, a satellite antenna, and different communication equipment. Against illegal mining, we executed the following operation. We located and destroyed 3 encampments of illegal mining, where we found a great quantity of different materials used for the destruction of the environment and the illegal extraction from water sources. We seized thousands of liters of gasoline and 6,000 of these liters of diesel fuel that were going to be used in the operations of the equipment for illegal mining. We seized a shipment, a speedboat, and detained 5 citizens for the practice of these crimes, and they are at the order of the public ministry. The Bolivarian National Armed Forces will not allow our sacred territory be used as a platform for drug trafficking. In Venezuela, we do not sow, we do not produce nor consume these kind of products. Venezuela is a territory of peace, free of terrorist groups. Chavez lives, my General-in-Chief. Well, thank you very much, Division General Soho. Greetings to all the team of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces in that region. Very soon we are going to be there, carrying out different tasks. And well, I say to the Venezuelan people that we can say that we have a territory that is busy. And it's not busy in the intent of massacring a people. It's not an occupation army to contain a people. I remember very sadly what happened in 1989. That massacre against the people. That was a doctrine. An army not to defend its sovereignty, but an army to contain the people, to fight the
contra el pueblo de Venezuela.
insurgency within the
Y
people,
así
against the
contra
Venezuelan
muchos pueblos
people.
en Latinoamérica.
And that's what happened against many
Así
peoples
que
in
un
Latin America.
ejército que está ocupando
So it's
el
an
territorio para
army
ejercer
that is currently
soberanía.
occupying the territory to
Ejercer
exercise sovereignty.
Reportes que recibo diariamente
Reports that I
lo
get
indican.
daily
Muy
points to it.
eficaz, muy
Very
eficiente
efficient
la actuación de la Fuerza
the
Armada
action
Nacional
of the Bolivarian
Bolivariana
National Armed
para
Forces
defender nuestra
to
patria.
defend our
Y
homeland.
ahora, bueno, estamos
Now
mucho más preparados,
we are better prepared.
mucho más consistentes,
We are
mucho
more
más
consistent.
fuertes.
We are
La
stronger.
Unión Popular
The
Militar
Popular
Policial
Military
no
Police
es
Union
un cliché,
is not a
una
cliché,
consigna, no, no. Es una realidad
it's a reality.
y ha creado una gran
And it has
capacidad
created a
de
great
respuesta
capacity of
en el
response
territorio nacional,
in the territory,
coherente,
coherent
repito, con el pueblo,
with
la
the
Fuerza
people.
Armada
The
y los
Bolivarian
órganos de
Armed
seguridad
Forces
ciudadana.
and the
Hemos hecho
security
un
agencies,
núcleo, pues,
we've
perfecto
made a
para
perfect
enfrentar
nuclei
cualquier amenaza.
to face
¿Cómo
any
hemos
kind of
aprendido?
threat, and
¿Cómo
we have
hemos
learned
aprendido en
a
todos
lot
estos años?
in these
De
last
guerra
years
híbrida,
of hybrid war
multiforme,
with different
multidimensional,
shapes.
al mismo tiempo todo
At the same
en una
time, everything happening simultaneously.
¿Cómo hemos aprendido?
We have
Así
learned
que,
a lot.
bueno, estaremos
So
muy firmes.
we are going to
Al
be
pueblo de
very
Venezuela le digo,
strong,
tenga
and to the Venezuelan
confianza
people
en
we
la
can
Fuerza
say
Armada Nacional Bolivariana.
you can
Tenga
trust the Bolivarian
confianza en
National
el
Armed
liderazgo
Forces,
de
trust
nuestro
the
comandante
leadership
en jefe,
of our
presidente
Commander-in-Chief,
Nicolás Maduro.
President Nicolas Maduro,
Tenga confianza en las
can trust in the
capacidades
capacities
propias
of,
de nuestra Fuerza Armada
of our
y las que hemos
armed
reforzado
forces
en estos
and the
últimos
ones that
días.
we have reinforced
Miren el
in
fenómeno
these
de la
last
milicia
days.
bolivariana.
See
Cómo
the Bolivarian
expresó ese
militias,
pueblo, cómo salió
the way that
en
the people
rechazo
express
primero
themselves,
a la
how they
amenaza
came out
militar
firstly to reject
del Imperio
military threats of the U.S.
y
empire,
también
and also
en una demostración
in a
clara de su
show of
patriotismo,
clear patriotism,
de su amor por la patria.
of love for their homeland.
No son fantasías. No
These
son
are not
cuentos.
fantasies,
El
these
que
are
quiera
not
venir a
telltales.
verlo, está invitado.
Whoever wants
Venga
to
a
see
ver
this, you
lo
are
que está
welcome to
sucediendo
do
en
it.
Venezuela.
Come and see what is happening
Se
in
ha
Venezuela.
despertado el germen guerrero,
The warrior gene has
guerrero para
awoken,
defender la paz,
a warrior to defend
la paz de Venezuela.
peace, the peace of
la paz
Venezuela.
de Venezuela. Entonces, el pueblo de Venezuela debe tener
So the
plena
Venezuelan people must trust
en buen
completely
camino. Estamos
that we are on the right path,
capacidades,
that we are building capacities, strengthening our strength daily.
Le digo también
And I also tell them
estaremos
that
aquí
we will be here
firmes,
standing strong,
vigilantes de toda acción
of any
del
action
imperialismo
that
norteamericano
imperialism,
con sus naves desplegadas
with
en
their
el
ships
Caribe,
deployed there in the
y su
Caribbean,
accionar
and their
dentro del país en el
actions
territorio
within the territory,
venezolano para desestabilizar
Venezuelans to
seguir
destabilize
provocando un cambio
and to
del
continue
régimen
to
en el
bring
país,
about a regime change in the
eso no lo
country,
van a lograr.
well, they will not
Se van a
succeed in
reunir
this
con otro muro.
because they're gonna crash.
Ya la gente
They're gonna crash
allá
with a
en el
wall,
norte se quitaron las
because
caretas.
the people now in the north, they took away their mask.
Ya no es que John Bolton escribió por allá un libro,
Now it's no longer that John Bolton wrote a book over there, and Mark Sparrow wrote some other book, and Mike Pompeo wrote another book showing the truth, the true intentions of U.S. imperialism
para derrocar el gobierno
to
del presidente.
overthrow the government of President Nicolas Maduro, to divide the armed forces, to destabilize the country.
Ya no son libros,
So they are no longer books, they are
fehacientes que estamos viendo
faithful demonstrations that we are seeing
de cara al Caribe,
in the Caribbean.
cara al Caribe. Territorio que ellos quieren
A territory that they want as theirs, as an inner sea for them,
control propio.
for their control.
Entonces, estamos vigilantes,
So we are vigilant, we are calm,
serenos, construyendo, repito, fortaleza. Y como dijo
building
Simón
strength.
Bolívar,
And as Simon Bolivar said
leyendo su manifiesto de
while
campaña,
reading his
Dios
manifesto,
concede la victoria.
God grants victory to
Quiero
consistency.
agradecerle
I want to thank
señor Coronel José Luis Betancourt,
Colonel José Luis
comandante de este
Bentancur,
glorioso
commander of this
batallón,
glorious battalion.
glorioso batallón, Libertador Simón Bolívar. Desde aquí estamos
From here,
compartiendo con las
we are
tropas,
sharing with
con
the
los guardias
troops,
nacionales,
with the
con los
National Guard, with the
milicianos,
militiamen and militia women
en un día de
in a
cotidianidad, de mantenimiento,
daily day
de elevación de la presta operacional. Mi saludo
of
para todos.
readiness. and preparation. Greetings to the people of Venezuela. We can tell you we are going to victory, we are going with our truth, and we are going for our national integrity, for independence. Slaves never, free always, always till victory. We shall be victorious.
Allí teníamos